And good morning. The report we're talking about is the Citizen Review Panel's findings into the Byron Carter Jr. shooting, a report kept under seal until now. And the few copies of this report that do exist have been watermarked by the city. They do that so if the report is leaked, they can trace where the information came from. So because of that, I'm not going to say how this information was made available to me, but I am going to report what's in it. And it is important to note, this is the Citizen Review Panel's findings. What really happened that night is still hotly disputed.
If it's up to me, release it.
My answer is, I can't tell you.
There's no conspiracy to hide anything from anybody.
It's the report the city of Austin does not want you to see. The Citizen Review Panel findings from the Byron Carter officer-involved shooting, kept secret for the past 2 years, despite APD's confidence in what happened that night.
There's nothing in there that I'm not willing to talk about, as long as I can do so legally.
When Officer Nathan Wagner shot and killed 20-year-old Byron Carter Jr. that night, APD conducted an internal affairs investigation. The chief found Officer Wagner did not violate APD policy, and he did not discipline Wagner in any way. But the Police Monitor's Office and the Citizens Review Panel also reviewed the case. Those offices were created by the city as additional oversight during police investigations, and not a single detail from any of those 3 investigations have ever been released.
They conducted this deep investigation into it, but now they don't want anyone to see the investigation.
Now, according to information provided by our sources, we can tell you what's in the Citizen Review Panel's report, noting officers Wagner and Rodriguez racially profiled the 2 civilians involved. The panel also says officers Wagner and Rodriguez never had a legal reason to detain Carter in the first place. And we've also learned the report states Officer Wagner recklessly caused the death of Carter, an innocent bystander.
These are just the kind of salt-of-the-earth people that you want being police officers.
Robert Eisenhower Ramirez is Officer Nathan Wagner's attorney. He says Wagner acted professionally that night and only used deadly force when the car Carter was in came at him and his partner Jeff Rodriguez and tried to run them over.
He sees his partner go down in front of that car and believes that he's underneath the car being dragged. And so his goal is to fire into that car and stop that driver from killing Jeff Rodriguez.
And while the internal affairs investigation may back that up, the Citizen Review Panel found the opposite. Information provided by our sources say the panel found Officer Wagner did not have objectively reasonable belief that the driver intended to run over or harm the officers, and did not have objectively reasonable belief that his partner was being dragged under a moving vehicle.
We believe it's overwhelmingly clear that he was not hit by a car, that he was not in danger.
That said, both the chief and Wagner's attorney say the Citizen Review Panel's findings are only based on a couple hours of reviewing the case and not considered thorough reviews. One thing all sides seem to agree on is all the information will come out during trial, which is set for June. A trial that some believe will finally answer the questions the city of Austin has been keeping secret.
Everybody will be comfortable at the end of it knowing that Nathan Wagner was defending himself and Officer Rodriguez.
Well, the information in the Citizen Review Panel's report creates an interesting dilemma for city leaders who created that panel. If city leaders dismiss racial profiling and other findings made by the panel, will they then in turn invalidate the panel itself? In other words, what good is the panel if the city ignores its findings? There are 7 members on the panel appointed by the city manager, Mark Ott. Members are trained by APD and Internal Affairs and must all be educated in police policies and procedures. And again, this case is set to go to trial in June. In the studio this morning, Chris Willis, KXAN News.